Hi guys, I'm really excited to share my new pantry with you. I'm going to give you a few tips for organizing a pantry and some things that I like to keep in mind when I organize pretty much any space. Now this pantry is a decent size, but I did have a very small pantry in my old house. A lot of you probably have seen it, and I'm going to link the video that I did on that pantry below just in case you live in a smaller space, and I'll give you a lot of tips along the way as I'm showing you how I organized it. But I used to have the smallest pantry. It was actually a coat closet, and it was just one single door, very shallow, so it wasn't deep at all. And I was able to create a pantry using that space as well. So don't be intimidated when I show you the room that I have here because it is a little bit larger, and you can always make it work, and you would be surprised at how much stuff you can fit into a pantry. And I was so glad at my old house when I finally made our coat closet into a pantry because I was able to fit so much stuff in there. So a couple things before I show you. When we moved here, which was just a couple weeks ago, I wanted to be able to fit everything in my kitchen. And by everything, I mean all of my small appliances, all of the food, all of the extras, anything that I am going to need to cook, I wanted in my kitchen. And so you will see a lot of things in my pantry that aren't necessarily food. You might not have room for those, but I wanted to show you kind of my thinking behind everything that I have in my pantry. So at my old house, I had to go downstairs to get my big mixer and things like that. So it's so nice to have everything in here. Also, when I organize any space, I have to keep my family in mind. I might want it to look really perfect and organized, but that might not be very practical. I also don't want to spend a ton of money on a organizing project. I would rather have Dollar Tree storage bins and things and spend the $20 on makeup or something, or nail polish or shoes. So I just try to make it as pretty as possible without spending a lot of money. And like I said, I have to keep my family in mind. So I have to make it work for us. If it looks perfect but it doesn't work for us, it's not going to be a very good thing, because if I have it all perfect and my husband can't find anything, or if I go to the grocery store and everything is so perfect in my pantry that I'm afraid to put anything in it, that isn't going to work either. So you will see hopefully in my organizing videos that I like it to look nice, but it's also very functional. So let me go ahead and grab the camera and I will show you everything inside, and I'll show you some of the different products that I used and how I was able to fit everything in there and save some money as well. I thought it would be best to kind of give you an overview of the pantry first, and then I'll get into all of the details. So my pantry is very deep. It might be kind of hard to tell in the video, but it goes back really far. All of the shelves do. I had to paint and I couldn't actually reach that very far corner. And I'm pretty tall and I have very long arms, so it is very deep. So that's nice because I can put a lot behind everything that you see. So I really wanted it to look nice and uniform, but function. And I'm going to kind of show you my thought process and share all of that with you. So that is everything. And I was able to fit everything in here, which was very exciting for me. So on the top shelf, I have some of my smaller appliances. I have a couple different size slow cookers that I wanted to put up there, my bread machine, my food processor, and my mixer. Now some of these items are a little heavy, but it isn't that big of a deal for me to get them down. I'm tall enough. You could always have a stool inside of your pantry if you choose to keep your small appliances in there. And we have 3 guys in our house, so I have no problem. But some of them wouldn't actually fit on another shelf anyway. So you kind of have to see before you start putting everything away if that's going to be a problem for you, if it's going to be hard for you to reach or too heavy for you to get down. If it's stuff that you barely use, you might be able to have your husband or child get it down for you if you have boys like me. So like I said, I have some of my smaller appliances up there, and that way they're out of the way. And then behind here, I have a large picnic basket. And I hardly use that. Sometimes we have picnics in the summer, so I can easily just get to it. But because I don't use it very often, it's something that I can keep in the back. And inside, I have a bunch of extra paper products. We don't use paper napkins, paper towel, paper plates, cups, and things like that, hardly ever. But we did have some left over when we were working on the house that we had here for guys that were working and things like that, and I didn't have a functioning kitchen. So we do have some extras, and I just put them in there so that when we do go on a picnic, we have those and they're out of the way, and I don't need to get to those very often. Now behind there, I also have my cupcake holder that I use to carry cupcakes if I make them for something. I also have a deviled egg holder above that. And then above that, I have some extra aluminum pans, and I only use those when I bring a meal to someone. And there are some smaller ones in there as well. And those are things that I can easily grab off of there when I choose to bring a meal to someone. I just do that because that way it's easier on them and they don't have to get dishes back to you, especially if they had a newborn or they've been in the hospital or something. It's just a nice thing. So I'm just sharing tips along the way. Okay, here I have my dried pasta and rice. I also have dried beans and nuts and popcorn. Now we all eat differently, and of course if you don't ever use dried beans, you obviously don't need a canister for them. Now when I was thinking about my pantry, I did have a lot of these canisters already and I just added to them. I found these at Home Goods. They do have them at Marshall's and TJ Maxx as well. They have all different sizes. Some of them are round, some of them are square. What's really nice is they stack and I can always find them. They also have some that are pretty much the same thing at Walmart. They are Better Homes and Gardens or Better Homes brand, something like that, and they're very similar. I like them because they weren't extremely expensive and they lock clothes and they are BPA free and everything, so that was really nice and I can pretty much always find them. That's something to keep in mind. If you're buying canisters and you just find a couple, say at TJ Maxx, and they might be nice, but are you going to be able to find new ones if down the road you need to add a couple to your collection? If it doesn't bother you, if they match or not, then you don't have to worry about it. But that's just something that I keep in mind. So like I said, I did have a lot of these canisters and I went and got some new ones to add to it. And the way that we eat changed some. Like now I wanted a canister for dried beans, so I added that. And I just thought about the things that I use on a regular basis, the things that I did want to have in a canister, so that I didn't have a bunch of packages. So I just kind of went through my pantry and looked in there and said, okay, I need a place for brown rice because we use that a lot. I need a canister for spaghetti. I need one for nuts because I always have an open bag of nuts or almonds. I always have popcorn, things like that. So just kind of look through your pantry and see what you have in there and what you would like to keep in a canister, things that you use on a regular basis and things that you want to keep fresh. Also, the labels are just from the Dollar Tree. They are the Dollar Tree chalkboard labels, and I think they're so cute. And this is what a package of them looks like. I did have a hard time finding these, to be honest, and people who live in other states find them all the time. I've seen on different YouTube videos and things, but I found them in the school supply section and I had to kind of dig, and then I ran out and a lady at church found some more for me, thankfully. So I just used those and I have an extra pack in case I need to add to it again. Now, whatever labels you use, I did this at my old house as well. Make sure you pick up more than what you currently need in case you can't find them down the road and you just need one or two. You have those extras so you don't have to, have mixed match labels. And then I just used a permanent chalk marker. I found this at Target. I had a hard time finding these as well. This happened to be near the gift wrapping things. Like, I think it was near like wedding gift wrap. So just look around, but it works really nice. And it's nice to have something permanent so that it doesn't smear off. I hope you don't mind that I'm giving a lot of tips along the way. I get asked a lot of questions and I thought maybe it would be more helpful to really let you know my thought process and how I did everything. So on this shelf, I have these 3 blue bins from the Dollar Tree, and they have a lot of different colors. I thought about doing white because I thought white is classic, it never goes out of style, but honestly they didn't have a lot of white containers, and I really like the blue. I think it looks nice because it might be kind of boring with the white tops of the canisters and then white, but you could do whatever you want. They have all kinds of different colors. So these were really nice. You can fit quite a bit in here. And again, I did the chalkboard labels, and for whatever reason, they wouldn't stay on here. So I just used some clear packaging tape and put it right over top. My bins, I have 2 for snacks, 1 here, and like I've shown a lot of times in different videos, I like to divide up chips and things like that and put them in here so that my boys can grab them easily for lunches, and this really helps so that they don't eat a whole bag of chips in one day. Now, I have been asked, what do you do with the extras? At my old house, I had a really high ceiling on the closet, and I was able to put extra bags of snacks up there, but because I have my small appliances here, that wouldn't work. So if you can see, I have an extra bag of chips back there, and anything extra I can easily fit back there, and you can't even see it from here, which it wouldn't really matter, but it still looks really nice and pleasing to the eye, and I can fit quite a bit behind there. If I wanted, 4 or 5 extra bags, I could make it work and fit those behind there. I also have this corner spot here that I could fit things in. And then this one is labeled snacks as well, and I just have some boxes of macaroni and cheese that my boys like to make. I have a couple cans of tuna, and then I have some raisins. So basically, snacks means this is food that my guys can make or grab, because these are things that they make, and these might change, what's in there. If I make granola bars and divide them up, I'll have those in there. If I buy, other things that they make, I'll put those in there. So that makes it easy for them to find. And like I said, I can put the extras behind. Now this bin is kind of a miscellaneous bin, but I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what was in there. So it's labeled breadcrumbs, quinoa, and lentils. And I chose to leave these type of things in the bag because I like how they have a resealable bag, and also I'm always changing what type of things I get. So like I have a few bags of quinoa in here, and I have tri-colored, but sometimes I get white quinoa, sometimes I get red, and if I put it in a canister, I might have a little bit left of the red, and then I buy a bag of the tri-colored. And that's just my thought process. I really think things through, and I just thought I would share with you. I have different lentils in here. I have red lentils and green lentils, and of course I probably could get a canister for each one, but it just makes it easy. I can fit a lot in this bin. I also have different breadcrumbs. I have gluten-free breadcrumbs, panko breadcrumbs, regular breadcrumbs, and then I have some egg roll wrappers or spring roll wrappers back here as well. So everything fits in there. I have quite a bit in there, but it looks nice and neat, and it all is very uniform, and I'll kind of show you what I have on the other side in a minute. And then I have this shelf here, and I have this shelf basically for baking things. So everything is together, and it will make it easy to find when I am baking. So I have my all-purpose flour, bread flour. I do have some whole wheat flour, but I don't always use that, so it's just in the bag behind there. I have some sugar, gluten-free flour, and confectioner sugar. And then this bin here is everything else that I need for baking. And I Got this from Michael's, and it's also a chalkboard label, and it has a little clothespin on top, and I think these are really cute. Two come in a pack, and they are $1.50. And you know, it might sound really cheap, but I always use the 40% off coupon on anything I get from Michael's, even if it's only $1.50. You can use the 40% off coupon. I just pull it up on my phone, so it was even cheaper than $1.50 for two of them. So I clipped that right on there and labeled it again with the chalkboard or the chalk marker. And I have chocolate chips, baking soda, baking powder, cocoa powder, shredded coconut. I have cornstarch, vanilla, everything that I need for baking. I have coconut sugar, and again, my whole wheat flour is behind there. So everything that I need for baking's in here. I can just grab the whole container out when I am baking, and everything is all set. I also have my electric skillet down here. That is nice to have on the bottom because it is a little bit awkward to get down, so it fit perfectly there. I have this basket also from the Dollar Tree, which is nice because everything all coordinates. It's the exact same color in each basket, or bin was only $1. And this says extras, again with the little clipped chalkboard label. And in here I have things that are extras. So if it's in another spot, I just put the extra one that I bought in here. So I have almond butter and peanut butter already in my fridge that's opened, and we know to find the extras there. That makes it easy for family to be able to find something if they run out of peanut butter. It says extra and they know they can look in there. And then on the bottom, I have this clear bin here, nothing fancy, we just had it extra in our house. And I have all of our grilling utensils in here. So I have a big brush, some spatulas, skewers, a grilling pan, and I just put Let's Grill on there. And you know, I can always add to that because there's plenty of room if we happen to get some new things to grill with. So that is this side, and let me show you everything on the other side. Okay, over here, again, I have my small appliances on the top, and then I chose to put my cookbooks in here. I don't have a ton of cookbooks. I have really pared those down. I used to have tons. I used to have tons of cooking magazines, and they took up so much room. So a few years ago, before I started YouTube, I got rid of tons of them. You can find a lot of recipes online now. I have this giant binder with all of my recipes or recipes that I've printed off the internet, and that holds a lot. And then I just have a couple cookbooks that I still like and like to look at and everything. But I really got rid of a lot, and I even got rid of some more before we moved, so I hardly have any. But like I said, you can find recipes on the internet and they just take up room. I know some people collect them, but I chose to get rid of mine. And then here is a great spot for cereal. So we have a couple boxes of cereal, and then the Rice Krispie cereal, or the crisp rice cereal that I used for making granola bars, and then our oats. And then I can always fit more. I could put more behind there. So I was asked about this, like, what do you do with extras? So say you're a mom who really likes to stock up on the cereal. See all that room back there? You could probably fit like 10 boxes of cereal if you went way back and all the way around. So you can make it look pretty in the front and just load it up in the back if you get extras. My idea was to make it look pretty but still make it function, because sometimes you see a lot of pantries and you're like, okay, well, what if you get something that doesn't go in one of those bins or one of those spots? You can hide it behind there. I have my cake plate back there. I don't bake a lot of cakes, but I do like to bake them sometimes. So I have that back there, and I can easily get to it, but because I don't use it, you know, every week or anything, it's, you know, tucked behind there. And then to go along with these bins here and to keep it symmetrical, I have these bins here, and these are parts for my immersion blender, all in here. Everything's in there, and my food processor attachments. And again, I just used the chalkboard label and put some packaging tape over top. But this just makes it nice because I can just grab this out when I want to use my immersion blender, and everything that I need is right inside of here. Nothing's getting jumbled in a drawer. Everything is right inside that bin. For my cans, I chose to use 2 turntables. Of course, sometimes we get extra cans and, we can put them in the back, but maybe if you like to stock up, like see all that room I have back there? So if you like to stock up, maybe put like one of each of the cans and then just use the extras in the back. So you can easily grab a can of tomatoes, but if you have like 10 of them or whatever, they're just in the back there, and you can just replace it as you take it out. So I currently have all of my canned things on this one, and then I just have like a jar of dressing, barbecue sauce, and my honey. I bought my honey locally, so I didn't want to show the label, but everything is here and easy to grab. Now, when I first moved in, I had more cans up here, and you can, really just rearrange it any way you want. Just make sure that it works for your family. And then down here I have a bin for potatoes. I was originally going to do 2 bins, but I realized that I can fit everything in one. So I do have a clip for sweet potatoes and then one in the back that says potatoes. I have a bunch of sweet potatoes in here and then some teeny tiny potatoes in the back. I do have this little box for my garlic. I used to keep it with my fruit and everything, but it's nice to just keep it in here and then it stays dry. I got these from the Dollar Tree as well, and they are just made out of cardboard, but I thought they were really cute and they match perfectly with the bin. So that is where I have my garlic. Then down here I have a bin for plastic and paper, and in this one I have my roll of aluminum foil, plastic wrap, wax paper. I have freezer bags, parchment paper, and then I have lunch bags for my kids. And I just chose to stick them all in there, and that way, it's easy to grab and it's labeled so everybody knows where it is. And then I just have a few extra Trader Joe's bags in case we need them down there. So that is my pantry. I hope I gave you some good ideas. I hope it was helpful for you. Thank you very much for watching.